Welcome to the Passive with Property podcast, hosted by Dragan Dimovski and co-host Amanda Calabria. With over 2 decades of property investing, Dragan is a qualified property investment advisor and buyer's agent. We're committed to the education of both first-time and seasoned investors in property investment and wealth creation. The Passive with Property podcast is brought to you by the Buyers Agency Australia.
Hi guys, welcome to the podcast. I'm Dragan Dimovski, and as always we have the lovely Amanda Calabria with us. Today, what are we discussing, Amanda?
We are discussing something a little bit controversial. Why traditional buy and hold investment strategies might be dead or dying.
Okay, so obviously discussing, and this is actually an article I had recently in the Financial Review as well. I've been asked the same question. So let's dive deeper. Amanda, how, what, and why?
That's a loaded question. Well, let's start with why buy and hold has worked for so long. Because buy and hold is the traditional method of investing, right? You buy a house.
Yeah, I was going to say, explain.
What is it?
What is it?
Yeah. You buy a house and you rent it out and you collect the rent and the tenant lives there happily and you happily collect your rent and the property goes up in value over time and everybody's happy without having to lift much of a finger outside of the original purchase.
Yep.
And the way that buy and hold popularized was either through active investing, you go out and purchase it, or what a lot of people were doing was when they upgraded their home, they didn't sell the old home, they kept the old home as an investment.
Yep.
And that became the buy and hold. You know, they'd throw a tenant in there, collect the rent and just leave it there chugging away. Buy and hold always worked in the past because the golden rule back in the day, and this is going to be very oversimplified mathematics, but when I first started investing, the golden rule was the rent had to be like whatever the purchase price was. So if the purchase price was $120,000, then the rent needed to be $120 a week, right? That was like the easy maths.
Yep.
And that was what made it viable. Look at prices now, and it's like you've got $1 million property, but you're not getting $1,000 a week. You might get
700,
if that. Like it depends where you are, right? So buy and hold now is less viable because those yields have
separated, gone the opposite ways.
Gone away. Right. And we've had rising rental market. Like we've had rent raises and, you know, renters are bleeding as well. So there's no juice there.
And the wages aren't keeping up
Wages aren't keeping up. Interest rates are going up.
Yep.
That gap is getting wider and wider and wider.
Yes.
And buy and hold now as a strategy, you can buy, but can you hold with that cash flow? The buying bit's not the problem. People can buy. But to hold an investment that is so heavily negatively geared, even with all the negative gearing incentives and all the rest of it.
Tax depreciation and all the rest of it, it's still a wide gap.
Still a big gap.
Yeah.
And it's disincentivizing a lot of investors who would buy and hold and don't know what other options are available. So for those traditional investors or the investors that are scared of trying something new, that are scared away from buy and hold, there's a split in the market. They either believe that investing in property as a whole is dead, which it's not, or they're saying, well, there needs to be a crash in the market because this is unsustainable.
Yeah, well,
also, which it's not, because the smart investors are just adapting. They're not quitting, they're adapting. So if buy and hold is dead, the question to answer is, well, how do we protect the hold part of the equation? We increase the cash flow.
That's right.
Because every property becomes a buy and hold once the cash flow is right.
That's right. Exactly. And how do we do that? So with all the different strategies.
You're the buyer's agent.
Of course.
And you've got all the answers to improving cash flow.
I mean, I'll give you a few, and it's some of the strategies we use for our clients. And we've spoken about this several times in the past, in recent podcasts, and that, you know, one would be, look, it's still in a way traditional. And it's been there for, you know, as far as I can remember, and even before that. And that's the dual income, dual key type of property. So that's your house with a granny flat, which then, you know, increases the rental yield. So perfect example. Funny enough, I had one in the western suburbs of Penrith come to me yesterday. It was 1.35 million, and it was getting about 1,200, 12 or 1,250 week rent per week. So for a Sydney property,
Yeah, that's closing the gap a bit nicely, isn't it?
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? So, the house at the front, yes, it was, maybe 40 years old, 3-bedroom, two bathroom, lock-up garage. The granny flat at the back was brick veneer as well. Really good condition, nothing wrong with it. The house at the front was renovated, and there's your decent rental yield for, a Sydney property.
Yeah.
Which, your standard rental yield for something, if it was just a standalone house, would be, 3.5% thereabouts.
Yeah.
So, another strategy we look at is your co-living, where you've got 4 bedrooms, the house is furnished. Let's even take Sydney, for example, a 4-bedroom house furnished that's, costing maybe 1.1 million. You're getting 1,300 a week of rent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there are ways.
Pushing past.
Exactly.
Pushing past the target. Yeah.
You know what? Even call it let's just say you purchase for 1.1, 1.2 and you're getting 1,100. There you go.
Yeah, you've hit the target.
Yeah, exactly.
I've always said to people, whatever the interest rate is, if the yield, this is rough maths before you do the full breakdown. If your loan is at, say, 5.5% and your yield is at 5.5%, then you're more or less breaking even because, with your tax incentives and then your extra expenses, whatever, it kind of washes out. That's your break even.
Yep.
But if your interest rate's at 5.5 and your yield is only at 3, that's a big gap that you're covering out of pocket.
That's right. And it's going to take several years for that to match.
But you've just made a really interesting point there. It does eventually match. And this is what investors miss, right? Because they do the maths at purchase, right? So at purchase, it's, this is the yield, this is the rent, whatever. What they don't realize is that in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, the rent keeps going up. But unless they've redrawn against that property, the loan stays the same.
Yep.
Okay. So you really only, I was going to say up shit creek, but you're really only struggling the first couple of years that you own it.
Yep.
Because after the first couple of years, your rent's gone up, your LVR has improved because your mortgage has stayed the same if you're interest only or come down if you're principal and interest. Your equity has gone up, the rent's gone up. Your cash flow situation changes because your purchase price is locked in at today's price, but your rents keep growing with inflation and with the market.
Exactly.
So I think when people run the numbers and they freak out, that's a fair freak out, but it's not a permanent situation. It's a temporary one. So when we have clients that come in, say they're on 2 incomes, say it's a husband and wife, but they've got no kids yet, I would say to them, now is the time to go hard because your income is fully disposable. You can bridge a bigger gap and that gap will close by the time you have kids.
Sure. Yep.
Whereas clients that already have dependents or high living expenses or less disposable income, I would say, you know what, that gap's not sustainable for you. We do need to target cash flow.
Yeah.
And we target cash flow. Whereas that couple with no kids, I would say to them, buy something that you can put a granny flat on later.
Yeah.
So when you do have kids and your wife is on mat leave and not earning any money, that's when you throw the granny flat on.
Yep. Yep.
So when we talk about portfolio planning with a good buyer's agent, they're thinking 5 years ahead while you're getting stuck in the freak out today.
Yeah.
So that family is a really good example of the typical thing that people don't think of. While they're on 2 incomes, leverage the hell out of it. I really got to watch my language, don't I? Leverage the as much as you can, but also choose properties where when you are down 1 income because you're having babies and your expenses are up because you then have dependents, that's when you start doing the co-living, the granny flats. Then you target cash flow.
Yep.
So portfolio planning is not just which property, but also which property and when.
Exactly. Yep.
And you really need to get good advice on all of that because buy and hold doesn't cut it. Portfolio planning to create the path to a sustainable buy and hold portfolio.
100%.
Is
It's you got to think 2 steps ahead.
More.
That, I'm just saying it's like a chess game.
Yeah,
when you
let
come
everyone
to-
else play checkers. You play chess.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
a good analogy. I like that one.
Yeah.
And you have to plan out, well, okay, and I talk from experience because, I first started in my early 20s buying apartments.
Yeah.
And I've learned from that mistake. And then when I moved away from that, I was obviously buying houses.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, I was buying houses that have future potential. And that was where my aha moment hits.
Yeah.
Because now, going back, say 10 years ago, that I've purchased a house, which I still have, on a large block of land,
Mm-hmm.
I can just throw another. Instead of going and spending 1.4 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house in that area,
Yeah.
I'm just going to spend 450, 500K, build a house on it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be valued if I subdivide it.
That's right. It's two of them.
As there's 2 of them there.
Yeah.
But if I don't subdivide, if I keep it as it is, have the house there, I'm still paying the same land tax for 2 houses
Correct.
and
But
getting the
also,
2 rentals.
You locked in the land price 10 years ago.
Exactly.
You're not buying.
Exactly.
This is where house and land packages fail because you're buying the land and the house in the same market.
Yep.
So you're not actually appreciating, like the underlying asset, which is the land, is not appreciating first. In your case, you've got, we'll call it the placeholder house on the land, earning the income while the land increases in value. So when you do go to build the new house and get your depreciation and all the rest of it, you've locked in your land price at 10 years ago. The land's doubled.
Yep.
That pays for your build.
Yep. Exactly.
The land pays that. You're not paying for both in the one market. And this is where, again, people get bad advice being sold house and land packages because they think, oh, it's a 2-part contract. I'm only paying stamp duty on that. They get sold all this crap. And it's like, just step back. Like, you've got to, I wish clients would learn to take the devil's advocate position. Go, okay, I accept that advice. Now I'm going to find someone that says the opposite and see how the advice I've got stacks up to scrutiny.
Yeah.
Because if you're not scrutinizing the advice you're given, then it's going unchallenged.
Yep.
I'm so against investing in anything that a developer tries to sell.
Yeah. Before we continue, a quick one from me. If you've been listening to this podcast and you're serious about building real wealth through property, I've put everything I know into my book, Property Equals Wealth. This isn't theory. It's based on over 20 years of investing with real deals, real numbers, and exact strategies I use for my clients today. You can grab your copy at buyersagencyaustralia.com.au/book. And for listeners of this podcast, use the code BOOK20 and get 20% off plus free shipping. Also, if you're getting value from this, please make sure to be following the podcast so you don't miss future episodes. And if you want to go deeper with video breakdowns, case studies, and real property deals, head over and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're listening on audio platforms like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you hit the follow there as well so you get every new episode as it drops. All right, let's get back to the show.
Because the developer is not looking out for you. And even buyer's agents that sell developer stock, they're just guaranteeing stock supply. They're not personalizing the experience. That family that we talked about before, they don't need house and land packages with depreciation because what you're doing is you're buying something at its highest and best value.
It's the same analogy. I mean, it's the analogy I say to
I finished that point before.
Oh, sorry.
I think that when I end on highest and best value, what I mean is you're paying top dollar for something that can't increase in value anymore. I don't want people to think they're getting a good deal when I use the phrase highest and best value. What I mean is nothing else can be milked out of that property. You bought it at the top of its cycle.
That's right.
Sorry,
but also they've caked in all the cream on top when it comes to the price. Yeah. So every single time, and look, go back and do your own research. Don't take their word for it. But when you're buying something that's, off the plan or brand new, a house and land package, it's the same analogy as when you buy a brand new car and you drive it out of the driveway, it will drop 10%. Yeah. It's just how it is.
And
but not only that,
you're going to make the same point.
Not only that, you're buying one out of so many others that are being sold at the same time.
Exactly what I was
The other analogy I'm going to use is...
Hold on, though, talk about the flooding. When they all settle at the same time, they all want tenants at the same time.
They all want tenants.
You're flooding your own market with oversupply.
And that's the analogy I use when you walk into a Coles or Woolworths and you see 1,000 bananas shelved up. Guess what? They're cheap.
Yeah. And that's the thing, when all those house and land packages settle at the same time and they were all sold by the same developer to the same buyer's agent to the same batch of clients, all of them for the same thing, and they all want a renter at the same time, and then they guarantee your rent for 2 years.
When anyone guarantees you rent back, question it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they've already baked that into your purchase price and they're just giving you a bit of your purchase price back.
Exactly. Look,
and also they'll say at market rent, but if they've just flooded their own market, they've just dropped what that market rent value is going to be.
And that would be still market rent. So they're right.
That's right. You're just the idiot that believed it when it was worth more because they weren't built yet.
Yeah. Scarcity is everything. That's what I say.
Yeah, and anything a developer is building en masse is not scarce.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. All right.
I feel like we went from buy and hold to house and land, but I suppose house and land is sold as a buy and hold, as in
it is,
buy it, do nothing further, just collect your rent, collect your depreciation. But it's not that simple because you're investing in something that can't really grow. It's already new and shiny.
Yeah.
And
it will take time. It will grow eventually.
But
but the thing is, we want your equity to grow today, tomorrow.
Yeah.
On the purchase price.
That's right.
Buying it off market, getting a little bit of a discount. So from day one, you have equity to move to your next property sooner rather than waiting longer.
I think what people forget as well is they don't think with an investor head. They think with an owner-occupier head.
Yeah.
Now, when you think like a tenant, right, every luxury that property has means they've got to pay more for it, right? So for a tenant, the difference between $500 a week and $550 a week is 10%.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And I feel like a lot of investors that reject a property, the kitchen's old, that's dated, I don't like the colour of the walls, whatever. You might not want to live there or you might want to move in and paint it. But to a tenant, that is worth a $50 a week saving.
Yeah.
So you got to think about your target audience or your target market.
Yeah. It's not their house, so they don't care.
They don't care what colour it is. They just want their $50 a week in their pocket, not in your pocket.
To go down the pub and have a drink with mates.
Sorry,
that's my mentality. Sorry, let's go.
Sometimes I feel the age gap. No, but this is what I'm saying. So these brand new house and land packages, you think they're new and shiny. And for an owner-occupier, that has value. But for a renter, all they see is I'm paying a premium for something I don't care about.
Yeah. And let's mention the other thing. Houses are not built these days like they were 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
So what I'm finding is
defects
in properties in the last 7 years that I'm hearing from people that I know. They're already noticing defects.
Oh, yeah.
And
funnily enough, the builder's closed his doors, so you can't get your builder's warranty.
Yeah. And it's happening a lot these days.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, people talk about depreciation as this amazing incentive to buy new, but just take a moment to look at what depreciation is as a concept, right?
Yep.
That is the government telling you that the dwelling on that property is worthless after 40 years.
Yep.
That the life expectancy of a built dwelling is 40 years and you depreciate it at that rate. Now, that's telling you where the investment is. If the dwelling is worthless after 40 years, then the value is the land, not the house.
Yep.
So why people are buying these tiny little parcels of land with these ginormous big houses on them when the house is worth zero after 40 years, why not go for a larger land holding and buy an inferior house? Because like I said, the gap in rent isn't that big between an older and a newer house. The renter, if they want a particular area, the going rate for that area, the gap between old and new isn't huge.
Yep.
But the gap in the land holding is. And the land holding is what increases in value. People miss that.
Yeah. It's a funny one. I'm gonna go a little off.
I love it
because my mentor, he showed me this picture, and yes, I have a mentor. Very, very smart gentleman, and really, very switched on when it comes to property investing and building. And he showed me this, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen this image. Have you seen that photo with this one old house in the middle? This square, massive square.
Oh, yeah, that's in Schofields.
Square block of land.
The Maltese family.
And then all around are those little, the little tiny houses with,
Yeah, it's out Schofields or the pond.
I don't know anyway. And he goes, what do you see? He goes, what attracts you the most out of this? And I go, that land at the middle.
Yeah.
Of that old house, not all these houses that are around there.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I do, but you've touched on a topic that's personal to me. So out in that
Okay.
area, my mum comes from a family of commercial flower growers.
Yeah.
So before Kellyville was developed, it was all the Italian flower growers. And my mum's mum had acres. Like all the Italians that I come from
Yeah.
had those big acreages that got bought out by developers. So when I look at that Maltese family that's holding on to, I don't know that family personally, but all of the people that we know sold land. There were so many of us grandkids that were like, we wish someone had held.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Not so we could cut it up and divide it, but because our whole upbringing's changed. Like we grew up on acreage. We grew up with a certain life that's been built. Like my nonna had 5 acres in what is now the Duncraig estate in Kellyville. I'm going to name it, whatever. She was number 10 Roseberry Road.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now number 10's renumbered. The whole street's renumbered. But her little house, they did keep a bit there. They built a preschool on the side. It's across the road from the primary school. That was the land that I grew up on. Or that my mum grew up on, and then I grew up on with the cousins. Obviously, we lived in our own house, but we spent a lot of time at Nonna's. And Carmelo Court was named after my nonna, Carmelo Court in Kellyville. That was their land. And to this day, you cannot pay me enough money to live in Duncraig. I will not live on that land.
Really?
I will not live on. I'm going to start crying. I will not live on that land.
Why is that?
We grew up there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when you talk about this, you got me now.
Okay.
When you talk about this Maltese guy, like,
Yeah.
good on him.
Good on him.
Don't sell it.
Yeah.
Fucking die there.
Yeah.
Pardon my French. So anyone that lives on Carmelo Court in Kellyville, don't ring us.
It's not their fault.
No, it's not. No, look, you know what? Also, by the same token, it also allowed us cousins the opportunity to be able to buy into the area and live near our parents, because all the Italians, they moved from Kellyville to Kenthurst. So now they're all in Kenthurst. Some of them took their farms with them, some of them didn't. But it meant that all us kids, a lot of us did buy in Kellyville or Rouse. I mean, I bought in Rouse Hill because I didn't want Kellyville when I first got married. And it did allow us to stay close to our families, because otherwise we would have ended up even further out where development was. Yeah, so development grew with us.
Yeah.
I think Nonna sold in 97 or 99 or something, like, I can't remember.
Yeah.
So by the time it got developed and, everything caught up, us kids were getting married and buying, and there were houses ready to go for us.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Without the acreage and all that.
But it also comes back to there's a lot of people out there asking the question, well, how are my kids going to afford it? Well, guys, if you buy, don't be so caught up on having to live closest to the city and all that sort of stuff. If you can't afford it, move out a little bit. Buy that larger block of land that eventually, that when it comes to the stage of your, kids moving out or whatever they do, you can actually just build a house at the back or the side instead of buying and having that sort of cheap entry for them, moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I think teaching kids financial literacy is a lost art. I think a lot of parents don't speak openly in front of their kids.
And they should.
They should,
especially the time that's coming.
But it was also, I feel like it was also a more relevant discussion in my family, because development was happening around us, and, that acreage sold, or that farm is shutting down, or that family is relocating their farm. Like, it was a topic of discussion because of what was going on in the local area at the time. Yeah,
but I'm also
they got reasons.
I'm gonna bring up the conspiracy theory, but there are motivations out there for, let's call them the elites, to have. No, but listen to it. All right, to have people think that the kids need to move out. No, they don't need to move out. Okay. What I'm saying is they don't need to move out.
I think if you care about the health of your marriage, you will.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is from the age of 18.
But up until you get married, I didn't move out till I got married, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah,
I stayed at home.
So save up as much money as you could.
But I think once you're married, you need space.
You need space. I agree. Yes. But do the hard yards at the beginning.
Correct.
Educate your kids. Well, guys, as soon as you start working, you're going to save 10% of that, put that aside and put that in wherever it needs to, will help you out. I mean, I'm educating my kids. They're early teenagers.
Yeah.
And I'm already putting that into their head,
Yeah. No, see, my parents didn't give us handouts, but they gave
handouts,
us Having said that, we weren't allowed to move out till we were married. It was, you're leaving in a box or a wedding dress. That's your choice.
Yeah.
And some days the box was very appealing. But looking back, I copped a lot of flack for that choice. I was 27, 28 when I got married.
Yeah.
I got married just after my birthday, so I would have been 28. And I copped heaps of flack for still living at home. But then once we got married, we moved out, we started our lives independently. So many of my friends moved out and rented in their 20s, got married, and then moved back in with their partner to have kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is that better?
Yeah.
See how I just went up an octave? How is that better?
Yeah.
But then they go, oh, you didn't learn any life skills in your 20s living at home. Nah, but you went backwards.
Yeah.
How does that, you spent your 20s dicking around paying rent only to have your kids in your parents' basement. What is that?
Yeah. That's yeah.
So as much as we talk about the elites, you want kids to be like, oh, yeah, because they're a new family.
Later.
Yeah. Yeah. But as a 25-year-old, single person working full-time with a fully disposable income ripe for investing, bring it.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Why spend that on rent when you can have somebody else paying you rent? And if you have a good relationship with your parents, and I appreciate that not everybody does.
Yep.
Keep the opportunity when it's healthiest
Yeah.
as a single person,
Yep.
not bringing a spouse into
Drag it out as much as you can.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
That's it.
Done.
There were times I wanted to move out because I was a petulant pain in the ass of a daughter, but when times were good, it was fine.
Amazing. All right. Do you want to add anything else, Amanda?
What was the topic we started on?
Are you serious? It's buy and hold.
We deviate. Oh, yeah, buy and hold.
Yes.
Yeah, see it. No, okay. We did deviate quite a bit.
We did.
But it was necessary because buy and hold, I don't think it's fully dead, but I do think there's some
It's not fully dead,
creativity
but
required.
Yeah. And look, there's going to be a lot of people say, well, yes, you still can. You can buy that, $350,000 property out in whoop whoop regional. And that's a whole other story, a subject we're going to discuss. Where's regional one industry type of.
Oh, no, we don't want those.
No,
yucky.
no.
Yucky,
But
yucky.
because yes, you can purchase for $350 and get $400 rent, but you're going to be stuck with that for a very long time with the same value.
Yeah, no, you've always got to look at, who's my market, what's my resale.
Yep.
How easily can I offload if I need to?
Exactly.
All of that. But that's all part of the due diligence process. And if you are going to buy and hold, obviously you're seeking cash flow.
Yep.
Just make sure that, you're not getting sucked into regionals on a cash flow that's not sustainable.
Yeah, they're an easy sell. They're an easy sell. They sound good, especially for, first-time investors. It looks all good, on paper. But
anything can look good on paper. I remember once, I'm going to deviate now because I love this story, but I remember once I was teaching a U10 class. People that know my background know that I was a teacher before this because, property was always a side hustle and then teaching was my day job. And I had a U10 class. I taught English and the topic was debating. And kids just want to be told what to say, what to think. Like debating requires thinking and Year 10 is allergic to thinking. So they were just like, Miss, just tell us what to say. I'm like, no, you have to think. That thing between your ears, turn it on and use it. So we're trying to slug through this debating topic and you've got a curriculum to find. And I'm looking at the thing going, it's period 5 after lunch. They don't care. I'm like, right, that's it. Put your books away. We're going to play a game.
Yep.
And what we did was I said, you guys can pick a topic, any topic that you think I can't win. Any topic. Whole class versus me.
Yep.
And we had it was an unstructured debate, but it was basically 30 kids versus Miss. They picked I won't repeat what topic they picked because it's not politically correct, but it is to do with terrorism. And they're like, all right, Miss, convince us of this. And I said, just to be absolutely clear, I do not believe a word that is coming out of my mouth. Mm-hmm. I'm just showing you the power of persuasion.
Yep.
That anybody, when an argument is well constructed, good England, can be persuaded of anything. Mm-hmm. Because you need to know, what pain points to hit, how to structure it, how to say it, what evidence to use, what backup, what angle, what perspective, etc. And they're like, Miss, there's no way you can convince us of this topic. And I said, all right, what's in it for me? Made them wager. And then we had this debate. By the end of the period, they were so thoroughly convinced of a topic that I do not on any moral or ethical level support. And I had to wrap up the lesson with, guys, that is the power of persuasion. I do not believe a word that came out of my mouth, but I just convinced 30 of you. And they're looking at me going, oh my God, we all just got done. And I'm like, yeah, because the power is not the message. The power is not like in the content of the message. It's how the message is delivered.
Yep.
And this is where salespeople are so skilled at delivering a message that can make people do things that do not align with their values, that do not align with their plan, that do not align with their strategy. There are entire courses and degrees angled towards teaching people this skill.
Yep.
That's where the consumer has to be so bloody clever to go, okay, I hear you persuading me, but I need to stick to my values.
Yeah.
And only follow those that might not be as skilled at persuasion, but are aligned with their values. And I really worry about the shape of the world now because the voices of the persuasive are overpowering the voices of those with integrity. And that's a terrifying thought, especially when you have certain people in leadership that
look, I'm not
now
going to
we're
get into that.
deviating
Now
again.
deviating again. But I think there's a what we call a little awakening happening as well from
there's a groundswell, definitely.
Yeah. And that's sort of really sort of coming up in many areas.
Yeah, I think people are realizing how easily persuaded they are. Because when it happens so frequently, I think people notice it.
Yeah. And it's massive now. I mean, in the political world anyway.
I don't know if any of those year 10 kids remember that lesson. If you do, reach out to me because I remember it. Because the power of persuasion is powerful.
Yep.
And we've got to become immune to it.
Yep.
Not just in conspiracies, but in everything.
Yes.
In relationships, in business, in where we put our money, everything.
Yep. Everything. Correct. All right. Thank you very much, Amanda. That was a good one.
Yeah, good fun.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for listening. And anyone else out there that wants to jump on a call, jump on to propertysession.com.au/15. That's the number 15. Happy to answer any questions you have. It doesn't cost you anything. And we will give you our honest answers.
Authenticity and integrity.
100%.
As you can see, neither of us is very good at sticking to the hymn book.
I know.
So if you want what we really think,
yeah,
give us a call.
That's right. Thank you, guys. Until next time.